Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back if you joined us for the previous stream, and if you didn't, just regular welcome to this tournament live stream. So, yet again, this is coming from the Blue Tit Bash, which is the latest tournament that we have started on the tournament's Discord. So this is a two-stage tournament with a group stage, followed by a knockout round. So this is coming from Group I, and this is between Bargoff and jeastthebeast. So joining me for this game on commentary, I've got Elsie joining me. So how are you doing, Elsie?
Got a bit of a sore throat, but I should be good for this.
Excellent. You sound very healthy to me, so it doesn't sound too serious, hopefully. Yeah, looking forward to this game. Should be a good one. And we have done the flip, so we know that Bargoff is going first. So Bargoff, if you would like to send the invite out, we will get started. And yeah, as always, best of luck to both of our players in this game.
Find it amidst all of these async games.
Yeah, Jeast is helping himself very busy with all of those async games. But here we go. We have the starting hand for Bargoff, and it's a pretty good start, I think. Some good options for both habitats in the forest and the wetlands. So yeah, I guess the difficulty is kind of choosing how greedy you want to be. It is very base game heavy, but yeah, kind of how do you negotiate this starting hand for Bargoff?
Well, I'm a Cardinal fan. Cardinal and Nuthatch is a great story, in my opinion, but that's sort of yeah, it's very food heavy. Like I think Nuthatch, canvas bag, Cardinal, but also the yellow thread in the trace, maybe not canvas. Was that breeding manager?
It might have been. I didn't see it completely, but yeah. I mean, you kind of
manager, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you make a good point with the there we go. Yeah, prairie or breeding. Not incredible choices, but you probably do go prairie manager there. But I mean, if you go canvas back and cardinal, that's already two that could meet the breeding manager. So yeah, I guess the decision is going to be, you see that yellow through the tray, you're probably going to want to take that anyway, just to deny your opponent. And so at that point, do you need the canvas back, or can you just keep the nuthatch and the cardinal and maybe keep that extra bit of food to get these birds down a little bit quicker?
That's what I do nuthatch cardinal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super familiar with the nuthatch.
Right. You're very quiet, Elsie. So I don't know if it's your Oh, there we go, that's better. I don't know if it's your sore throat that's holding you back.
I might have been mumbling. Yeah, I've got my mic right up against my mouth, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying not to spit on everybody's ears. But
no,
what does the Corsican nuthatch do?
What was that?
What does the Corsican nuthatch do?
So that is
No. Okay, I think it's your settings because I'm talking really loud.
I can hear you loud and clear now, but
okay,
no,
you can hear me?
I can. Yeah. So the nuthatch in the tray, that's one of those new European expansion birds. You get a bonus card, and then I think you can choose to either get food or draw a card or lay an egg. It's one of those kind of new bonus card birds.
Oh, it's a bonus card one?
It's a bonus card one, yeah. So not quite as interesting. So, but yeah, here we go. We have the start for Jeast, and lots of wetland options, not many good forest options, really. That woodpeckers are only one, and you look at the food cost and you look at the bird feeder, and it doesn't really line up that well with all those seeds. So it's looking like a bit of a trickier start here if you're Jeast.
So Savi's warbler, right?
Yep. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Just blame it on the American accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the warbler's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, this kind of comes back to if you're Jeast, you're going second. You're thinking of what your opponent's going to do. You probably expect them to take that yellow throat. Obviously, they kept the worm, so you see that and you think that's probably what's going to go down here.
Yeah.
But it might not necessarily be the case. I think if you're Bargoff here, you've got that nice wetland bird already in the canvas back. Like we said, they've chosen to keep that. So it's all going to come down to that. But I think Geest, you probably keep the warbler, and something else looks like for them that something else is the night heron. So be interesting to see how that works out. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with this yellow throat, because I think if it does get left, I think Geest is probably going to try and pick that up. And if you get these 2 birds down and just start digging through your wetlands and trying to find some birds, that could be a good option if you're Geest.
This goes first,
right? So
yeah, Bargoff.
Yeah, there we go. So they do indeed take the yellow throat, and yeah, I mean that feels like a pretty solid wetlands. You get those 2 birds down, but as well, if Geest is going to play this warbler, there's going to be cards flying all over the place in this game.
Cards.
Yeah, because obviously the canvas back gives cards to everyone, and then Savi's warbler also gives cards to everyone as well. Obviously Geest will get 2 and Bargoff is going to get 1. So yeah, they are not going to struggle for card draw. It's probably just going to be a race to see who can draw the birds that they're looking for. If you're going raven digging, who's going to find that? You're probably looking for those 2 eagles in the expansion as well for big points.
Oh,
so yeah, interesting to see how this plays out.
The Geest start is that it's the component parts for a wetland engine. They just don't have the points right now,
Yep.
Like if you can get Savi's and then Night Heron and then something that generates eggs, something that like one of the ones that tucks under the whole row that I can't remember the name of. I think Mute Swan's the only one I can think of off the top of my head, but there's a better one. Like there's a better bird.
Yeah. I mean, Night Heron's always an interesting. Yeah. Night Heron's an interesting one for the wetlands because it works if you can get eggs from somewhere. I think at the moment,
Geest needs an egg source.
He needs an egg source. So whether that's something in the wetlands itself, or if he can build up a nice grasslands that generates lots of eggs, so that he can maybe lay eggs once or twice, get lots of eggs there, and then start setting up through this grassland or through this wetlands, then that's probably the kind of option they want to go for. But it's I think it's probably mostly for the points, and then it gets that extra card draw as well by not having to discard eggs. But they might be able to make use of the power, like I said, if they can get some good eggs later in the game.
He just needs a grackle or something.
He does. Yeah, something.
I swear when the game loaded up that the bush tit was in the tray and then it disappeared.
Yeah, well, I've noticed this a few times.
It and see.
Yeah,
but...
there have been cases where if you join a game that someone's invited you to before they join it, it shows you a completely different tray and everything. So you'll see the tray.
Oh, that's wild.
They then join the game, and the tray changes to something else. And I think you're right. I think that is what's happened here. So. I don't really understand why that happens, why that's the case.
Yeah.
But I think it's useful to be aware of, because I think some players see that and they think, oh, what's going on here? What's my opponent doing? Like you see a nice bird in the tray and then suddenly it disappears. But I think it's just a weird one of many slightly unusual and unexplained bugs that we've got in this wonderful game.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. So. I mean, interesting couple of turns for Bargoff. So obviously they've got this yellow throat down. They've just kind of started digging. So I think perhaps maybe they've seen this warbler and thought, I don't need the canvas back because I've got good card draw from the yellow throat. And then if this warbler's going to give me a few extra, it is probably a little bit overkill. And I can kind of see that. I think that makes a bit of sense. But they kind of seem to be digging for this. Maybe a second forest bird. Obviously, the nuthatch is a really nice start. I think they picked up the Baltimore Oriole, which ordinarily I'd be really strongly in favour of, but the bird feed at the moment is not really cooperating on that front. So,
agreed.
I think they've got some good options for the grasslands. Obviously, this first end of round being filled columns, they can.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Go on.
Geest has just drawn the egg cannon.
He has indeed drawn the egg cannon.
Play it here?
I mean, I wouldn't.
I mean,
play
they don't have anything in the forest,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I wouldn't play it right now. I think
well, not right now, but
I think it's a tricky one. I think you need a lot of food, right? And you look at the way the bird feed is set up right now. No visible seeds. I mean, we might get a reroll here from Bargoff, but it's tricky. I think 3 seeds for 1 point. You really have to make the most of it. But I mean, we talk about setting up a nice grasslands that works with a night heron. That is exactly what you're looking for, I think. Something like the partridge, just a massive number of eggs. So I think it could
especially
work.
since Dobby's had 4 egg spaces.
Exactly, yeah. That's what you're looking for. You want birds above and below that have all those egg spaces that you can run that grasslands a few times, get loads and loads of eggs, and then I mean, that night heron is probably Jeast's best source of food right now. Unless he does probably look to get this creature down because he does have the rodent. So I don't mind that. I think that makes sense. And I think they will probably just about miss out on this end of round, but they might, maybe they can force something down. I think it's looking pretty strong for Bargoff, so they did go for those 2 rodents on the previous turn. I think certainly this Northern Harrier, I'd be expecting to see that go down. Indeed it does. But the Kestrel, it's not as good a hunting power, but it works with the bonus cards, so that might be something that Bargoff is going to bear in mind as the game goes on. But it's kind of one of these interesting positions for both players where the bird feeder isn't great. Now Jeast does kind of seem to be the one. He's going to take one for the team and do the reroll, and that is a very nice reroll, I think, if you are Bargoff, because you want to be getting down this Baltimore Oriole, right? You've already got 1 cherry. There's another one there and a worm, so I think you can pretty straightforwardly go for food. I mean, I think probably that Seti's Warbler might be the one to get thrown away, or I think it's either the Sandpiper or the Snipe they've got. So I think
they have the Sandpiper. Somebody in chat was saying that Seti's was actually useful here.
And I'm
not familiar with the power.
And you know what? I agree. As I was saying, they might discard it. I was looking at the end of round goals. So it's one of these birds that counts double for certain end of round goals.
Oh, yeah.
And they get a bit of a bad rap because most of the end of round goals don't work. But in this case, we've actually got 2. So both the second and the third end of round goals are going to work for the Seti's Warbler. So I quite like it. I think it would be a reasonable play. I mean, they're kind of looking at it. I think they're probably now working out whether it's worth keeping that and go for the end of rounds. But I mean, if that can potentially win you 2 end of round goals, that is a huge number of points that you wouldn't otherwise have. And as a second wetland bird, it saves you a few eggs by going for cards. I don't mind it. I think it works quite well. So I'd quite like to see Bargoff get it down, and we can find out how useful are these birds going to be. All right, so I did wonder.
The egg cannon placement.
I did wonder if he was going to force the buzzard down.
It's not forcing if you play it with the food cost. It's just not using the power.
Yeah. It's not the way it's really maximized in usage, and also, like you say, with this partridge, I think if you were going to play that, you'd want to play it lined up with the Savi's Warbler with all those X spaces. So it does feel like that ship maybe has sailed for Jeast, but I
want to see the partridge used on stream so badly. It just seems like a hilarious bird.
I mean, I think we did have it. I think Oki might have played it. I'm trying to remember. There was certainly one stream.
Somebody played it, but it filled up really quickly. Like, the placement wasn't ideal.
I think this is the thing. Like, for me, I think with a partridge, you have to play it super early. The early you play it, get it into that first column, and make sure you've got birds above and below. Then when you're activating it, you're maximizing the eggs, and like you said, make sure you've got eggs space in the rows above and below. You can really maximize from that. So I think it certainly has a place and a time. I feel like probably for Jeast this is not the place all the time, but it looks like they're kind of going big point birds here. So we had
sweep the tray.
Exactly, with the woodcock and the red knot. I think those are both nice options. They've gone for the crow as well, potentially, Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
That's exactly what you want to see. What did I say? Go eagle digging. There you go. And with the yellow throat as well, plenty of opportunity, I think, to be able to get the cards to get that down. And hey, it works for Prairie Manager. So
Look at that.
you play that alongside your Kestrel, or maybe even the Blackbird in the tray. You've got your 3 points. So this is very, very nice, I think, if you're Bargoff in this position. So yeah, they do indeed go for that Blackbird, and we have Jeast's favourite bird, the Phoebe.
Oh, but it's on the wrong side.
But it's on the wrong team. But I think he'll still be happy to see it go down. I think Jeast. That's the thing. Jeast, he's very giving. He's very caring. He's not like selfish in the Phoebe. He's very happy for other players. As long as he sees the Phoebe, he can feel at peace. So I think he'll like seeing that go down. And I mean, in this position for Bargoff, it's really, really nice. They can pretty easily get that down. They've already got the food in the grasslands, and very nice for them, I think.
We have Blue Throat in the tray.
We do indeed. So we might get a bit of co-op, which Jeast is always, again, a big fan of. Phoebe, the classic example, but yeah, I think he'll be picking up that Blue Throat, and he does indeed. And another big point bird.
To stop taking cards.
He does. And Tuck and Cash has mentioned this in the, oh my god, more co-op birds. Like, Jeast has got all of these big point birds and no food
and
generation.
no way to pay for it.
I think he's going to go. I think he's going to try and get the Blue Throat and the Scissortail Flycatcher down in that grasslands and just start spamming that, and we could be in for some very high scores if we get some high co-op, and that's always fun. That's always good to see.
Would you drop the Goshawk as your second forest bird to help get the first one of those giving birds down?
I mean,
Goshawk is a 7-point bird.
Right. I would definitely look to get that down. Again, it's kind of like the little sibling of the Imperial Eagle, in that it's when you've got a good card draw like this, you can pretty easily score big points from that. And you get that down in your forest. You get 2 food suddenly every turn. Helps you get the Blue Throat and the Flycatcher down. I think that's probably what Jeast is going to be looking to do. And as well, with this Oreo going down, a couple of free cherries here and there.
Oreo.
That might help speed things up a little bit. But this is interesting. It's going for the Woodpecker and the Goshawk. So yeah, that's
a lot of points, I think. But
it's a lot of cards as well. So he's going to have to get rid of one of these. And it uses up all of his eggs. So he's going to have to lay eggs for not very many points before he does get a chance to get one of these grassland birds down. So
do you keep the hooded crow here? I think that's sort of the odd one out.
It is a little bit. I don't know. I think he picked that up with all good intentions, and I think you could still expect some points from it, right? Because you know the Phoebe's there, you know he's picked up the Brewer's Blackbird, so there's going to be something going in the grasslands, and you're going to get some activations from that over the course of the game.
But also, Jeast isn't going to want to get rid of any of the cards that they're holding.
He wants to play all of these. He's looking at these birds. They're all 7, 8, 9 points. They all eat a lot of worms, which the Flycatcher gives, and obviously if he has that Blue Throat, you can be flexible in gaining what you get from that. This is going to be interesting because they, like I say, they both have some very strong point scoring birds, but also the food generation. So I think it's going to be a race to see who can get these down and start spamming all that co-op first, because lots of good options here.
Kind of funny that that Bargoff dropped the Northern Cardinal in the first hand and then ended up with the Oriole later on.
It's like the bigger, better version, I think, of the Cardinal. So I think that's. I
still stand behind the Nuthatch Cardinal start, but
I think that would have been a good start.
I don't think it's hurting Bargoff at all that they didn't go for it.
Not at all. No, and I think they're going to get a very nice grassland setup here. I think the Blackbird was a very, very savvy pickup. Although it's Jeast that has the Savvy's Warbler.
Yeah.
That was not intended, but I'll take it. So I think once the I'm assuming, right? I'm assuming they're going to try and get this Seti's Warbler down for the end of round, but I'm not sure they've got enough turns. So I think at this point you try and get this Phoebe down and start drawing cards, because the more cards you draw, the more you're going to look at the deck. But also you need cards to feed the Blackbird, to feed that Imperial Eagle as well. So yeah, I think this is looking good for both players. I think they're both going to get what they want set up as we kind of go into this third round, and yeah, may the food start flowing from there, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Bargoff looks like they're getting down the Kestrel rather than Seti's. Like, they've got the food for the Kestrel. So either they're going to have to take food again, which is not ideal, or Seti's doesn't go down this round.
Well, I think that's what they're working out. So they play the Blackbird, but they don't have any eggs right now. So if they want to play something, they have to lay eggs first. And if they lay eggs, they don't get food, right? So
yeah, I think
Yeah, I think the Kestrel. I don't know. At this point, you probably don't bother with the Kestrel, because I think you know that the Eagle's going to go down, right? That's your second Prairie Manager bird. If you play the Phoebe as well, you then don't have enough space to max it out. So I think it makes sense to lay eggs here and get the Phoebe down, and then you can start getting a few worms maybe. I mean, if they need to go to the bird feeder as well, they get 3 food and a point as well. So I think certainly that second wetland bird is so critical right now to just help extend that card draw a little bit for Bargoff.
Interesting that they chose to lay the eggs on Brewer's Blackbird. I guess it's helping with the birds with no egg.
It's that. Yeah, I think it's purely for the end of round, and they know, all right, I'm going to play the Phoebe and then play some more birds later.
One off of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a risky play to to fill up your egg laying bird, but
on literally the first turn that you activate.
Yeah. I think in the end it's probably not going to make a difference, right? Because Jeast has just got this blue throat down, so I think he has an unassailable lead in this end of round. But yeah, I mean, I think Bargoff pretty reasonably, I think, should be going for this Phoebe or the Kestrel. Okay, ignore me. Never mind. No.
Well, the blue throat just went down on G's side, so
that's true.
I think Bargoff might have considered that, but
yeah, I think Bargoff is going to be expecting some free food here for sure, but I don't know. Yeah. I still feel like they kind of need to focus on getting this wetland set up and drawing cards, because at the moment, obviously this Blackbird is gonna need cards to feed it, so they might look to go for food here. Which I don't think would be a bad option to try and get this Warbler down, and really give them a strong position in this end of round. It's a good card draw, or good reroll, I should say, and the Cherry as well. That'll help get the Phoebe down. So
yes,
that's not a bad turn. I think you get those 2 down, you start drawing cards, and start tucking, and once you get that free food as well from the blue throat, you're not going to be short of options, I think, for Bargoff.
So remind me what the French gull does.
The French gull.
I'm not even going to try to say it. Mother Love isn't here, but I don't want to embarrass myself.
Oh, you've just christened a new nickname for it right there. So the gull, you draw 2 from the deck, you tuck 1, and you keep the other. So
that's nice.
Yeah, it's quite a good option. I think maybe at this point it's a little bit late in the game.
Yeah, I don't think it's late at I don't think it's good in this game particularly.
No, I think early game. I mean, I think of it. Yeah. I think of it like a yellow throat, right? So that one you draw 2 and you discard 1. Here you draw 2 and you tuck 1 of them. So it's basically, instead of discarding, you get tucked cards. You get a point for that. Which is pretty nice. So there we go. Seti's Warbler does indeed go down, so we'll see if that is a factor perhaps in this end of round. Does put them 1 ahead, but kind of looking at how Jeast is going here, I imagine this is going to be lay eggs, get the worm, play the flycatcher, and then start spamming that and getting as many food as possible. So I think he'll probably manage to get one more wetland bird down to potentially tie this. So yeah, I mean, if you're Bargoff, it's all going to be on the card draw. You know, if you can pick up something nice for the wetland, although it does kind of feel like Geest has kind of got locked down on that with the red knot and the swan, two very, very good options.
Yeah, it's a shame the Phoebe didn't go down because that would have been great towards the red knot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Phoebe is going to go down this round, so that might be a factor. Like you say,
where does it go? That's what chat's doing right now.
Well, where does the Phoebe go? They're not.
Yeah.
Not in the wetlands, surely. Come on.
Well, it's either the wetlands or you screw yourself a prairie manager. You know.
Well, I think it's a gamble, right, on prairie manager, because how can you be sure that you're going to find that extra bird that's going to meet it and score points? I think if they were going to put Phoebe in the wetland, they would have done it right there before drawing cards. So I think drawing cards here is kind of the signal that they're not going to do that. But I think they've still got enough turns, right? They could put the Phoebe in the grass and lay eggs and then play the Willet. So that gets them up to 4. And I don't really think Geest has enough turns to catch up with that. I think he can get to 3, but not 4. So I think if you're Bargoff, you still have enough options here to be able to win this end of round goal.
Yeah.
And a little bit of free food as well from this flycatcher and the blue throat is certainly going to help as well.
So that's a significant amount of free food. That's a lot more than a little.
Exactly, 2 free food from your opponent, and then if you're going to be giving out some worms with the Phoebe as well, that's going to help even more. So
I feel like we're too stuck on the Phoebe. Like,
well,
you think it's still going to go down, right?
I mean, I would. I'm not certain now because he's laying eggs.
Yeah, like I feel like it might be a little bit too late.
I still would have played it. I think I probably would have played it instead of the Kestrel. Obviously, you would screw yourself on Prairie Manager, but I think you still take 3 points. I think 3 points from Prairie Manager for 2 birds is not bad at all. You could be happy with that. It is a bit of a gamble, I think, here, if they are trying to max that out and try and get all the points from it. But yeah, I think at this point, the longer this goes on, you know, if you play the Phoebe now, you're maybe only going to get 3 or 4 turns activating it, and yeah, you look at your opponent, you're going to get lots of free food from there. So maybe you can prioritize something that's going to score you points while also getting all this free food from your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, like, we all love co-op birds, but in Bargoff's situation, like, it's more advantageous to not be using it, you know?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think at this point, you know, maybe they could have played it at the start of this round and still made it work, but I think right now it's not worth playing. I think you kind of expect maybe some free food, although Geest, having just played all these co-op birds, is going for food from his forest. So
Geest.
This is very un-Geest. This is very, very un-Geest. He's normally a big sharer. He'll happily throw the food around with the co-op power. So yeah, I don't really get that.
I think Geest might have caught on to the same thing we did, is that 2 free food is too much.
Well, but that's not the Geest I know. The Geest I know would play the black-chinned hummingbird in the grasslands and start laying eggs. That's what I expect from Geest. So,
the Geest you know has been playing base game for 7 months.
That's true. That's true.
We all have to adapt.
We do all need to adapt. So maybe he is adapting a little bit, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. If he wants to get these big point birds down, he needs to get one of them down this round. So I don't know. I think you set up that grassland to use it. I don't think you play those birds just for the points, but yeah.
I think it'll get activated at some point. Just
yeah. So I don't know. Interesting that Bargoff went for cards there. So they may have been hoping for that final Prairie Manager bird. Unfortunately, not found it. And I think at this point,
they also need to feed the eagle.
They need to feed the eagle, right? But they've they've almost got enough to work with in terms of, like, I don't think they necessarily need to draw cards again. So I think you look to get the eagle down, you look to get the woodstock down, and then maybe try and lay eggs and score points that way. So here we go. Jeast is laying eggs. Good. Thank you, Jeast. Be generous. Be kind. Be very giving. Don't skip the powers. There we go. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he gave one. I think he gave the worm to play the.
Yeah, he gave the worm.
He gave the worm to play the red knot. So. Yeah.
They don't need to activate it at that point. Like.
No, but I imagine he's still gonna want to activate it next round because he's got these other big birds, right? He's got the swan, he's got the woodcock. He'll want to get those down. So I can't see him going for food again to try and get these down. I think it is just going to be through, through this grasslands and these co-op powers that he's got.
Yeah, because Jeast isn't making any points in his forest, right?
No, that's the thing.
Well, not reliably. The screech almost missed every time.
I think it has, yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not the kind of bird you can rely on in most cases anyway. So, we do see for Bargoff they get the Willet down, so that's make sure that they win the end of round. But I think for Jeast, I think you probably play the Willet anyway, or the red knot anyway. So, good bonus card.
Oh,
you take that. He's already got 9 birds down, so pretty straightforward. And well, there's the chiff chaff. Probably a bit late.
Too late.
3 very similar looking birds.
Yeah.
Do you go Cassis Finch? You probably go Cassis Finch. I'm not sure you play any of these, to be honest, but
yeah, I don't think you take any of them.
I guess he could play the Vireo with the woodcock, but I probably expect that.
I think that is actually less points than you would get just playing the woodcock on its own.
I think so.
Oh,
Jeast.
There
we go. Find your way
Sneak
back,
peek
Jeast.
for those of us who have not been featured yet.
Stop revealing all of our secret chats, Jeast. No, it's all good. So there we go. Seti's Warbler, MVP, already winning the end of round.
Ooh.
So
Seti's Warbler, MVP, no. Got double swifts in the tray.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't use them, but
I mean, if you're Bargoff, right, and you need that one final prairie manager bird.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
I was joking, but yeah, that's.
I think
that's not a horrible idea.
No, I think.
Well, okay, but do they actually have enough time to pick it up and then play it?
So here's the thing, right? If you draw cards, you're gonna have so many cards that you want to be tucking them all, and so you could probably get away with Blackbird and Swift in the grasslands. Like you tuck 2 a turn, but you've got so many cards. I think you could go for cards here. You play the Swift and the Eagle, and then just lay eggs a couple of times. You're going to score so many points through the eggs there, and you've maxed out Prairie Manager, scored a lot of points. I don't feel like there's many other options. Like you look at the birds in their hand. Obviously, the Eagle's going to be the one to play, and maybe the Woodstock, but they haven't really got the food for that. So it would be tricky unless they get a bit more co-op. But I quite like the white-throated Swift in this position.
I'm sort of chickening out on it because it's worth 2 points, and they're already on the 2 egg thing, so it's a 0-point play. And then you only activate it twice, which is, I guess, 4 points overall. Just wondering if that is the best course of action, you know?
Yeah. Well,
like, it'd be great, but I don't know if it's the best.
Yeah. Well, so you get the 4 points from activating it. You get 5 more points for Prairie Manager, and then if you have a bit of spare food that you want to chuck away and get some eggs, you get a couple of extra points there. So I think it's potentially a 9 or 10 point play overall. Obviously, the cost is that you have to spend 1 extra turn drawing cards to enable that, but
you'd sort of have to do that anyway, feeding both the Blackbird and the Eagle, you think?
Yeah, well, I think they would have to skip 1 tuck, because they've got, if they use the Eagle, they use 3 cards for the Eagle, they then have 3 birds left to tuck and 4 turns. So if you just lay eggs 4 times, you're going to skip a tuck. And miss out on a couple of points there. So yeah, I think you either go for the eggs or you get the Woodstock down. but the Woodstalk is kind of a gamble. You're relying on being able to get a bit of free food from your opponent, so you can't always necessarily rely on that, especially when we have seen Geast already start skipping on the blue throat and not giving away any food.
I like the Woodstork as a card, but I hate the bird. Like, that bird is freaky.
It is a little bit weird looking.
We're killing time.
It is a little bit scary, but I think it doesn't have a really weird sound, right? Because some of them have horrible sounds where you flick to them in your hand and it just like scares the crap out of you when you're not expecting it. That's the best.
Yeah, I
I
did
don't
that with
like.
the turkey vulture one time.
It. Yeah, the turkey vulture is the worst one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I play with the bird noises on, but that one made me reconsider.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be able to select, right? You should be able to go, I want all the bird noises except this one and this one and this one. Because I don't like them. Like, you should be able to be specific about what you do or don't want, but maybe...
Well, I thought there was a zombie behind me the first time I heard that bird. Like...
If you've got, like, noise-cancelling, surround sound or anything like that, this is not the game for that, because it will...
Yeah.
It will freak you out if you're not careful.
Well, I was, like, playing late at night, looking out the window. It's dark outside, and I just hear this, like...
Yeah, it's they market this as a relaxing game about birds where you can just sit back and you're looking at the birds and you're hearing the nice bird song, and then it's like, "Argh!" Not ready for it.
We're gonna have a lot of good sound bites from this stream of us trying to make turkey vulture noise.
There's always good sound bites from these streams. It's always good value.
What does Geast even have in their hand anymore? I forgot.
Well, he's got a couple of big point birds. Right, he's got the swan. He's got the woodcock. He's got that vireo that he might do a double play with. I mean, he's going to be thinking about this end of round goal, so I think he's ahead at the moment. But it is one of those where you've got no idea what your opponent's got, right? So if they play something that's got a lot of egg space, or maybe they do a double play of their own and can suddenly win that, that's a big shift. So they might need to just kind of wait and see and react a little bit to what happens there. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, because the thing is for Geast, right? They've got these big point birds. They've not got great food source unless they're going to start spamming these co-op powers again. I don't know realistically how many of these big point birds he can get down, right? Because if you spend, say you're going to play 2 birds, that's 2 turns that you have to play the birds, and you only give yourself 3 turns to get the resources for them, and they both need 3 food, so a lot of food, and you only get 2 from your grasslands. Obviously this Phoebe hasn't gone down for Bargoff, so you're not going to get anything from there. Yeah, it's just going to be whether it's worth spending that turn going for food in the forest, going from the bird feeder, or if you just spam the grasslands and try and get some food that way. Yeah.
I think Geast can really only afford to play 1 more bird, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Just because of how many times they'd have to activate their grasslands.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
have we? Oh, he has finally had a turn, and at the same time dropped off the stream. So great timing, Geast.
What did you do? No, take it. No, wait, not that one. The other Swift. That one. No.
They are thinking. I think they're both okay options, right? Because if you're going to get some free worms, you get some free tucks, and obviously the common Swift is already worth 3 more points on its own. So, yeah, maybe only 1 or 2 free worms is going to help. Oh, Willet. OP Willet with the single dice roll. That is what you like to see. Very, very good. And yeah, I think the rest of these cards, it doesn't really matter what you draw, because they're all going to get tucked anyway. So
yeah,
yeah. Hopefully, Geast stream is coming back up. Although it is stuck on the loading for me. So
yeah, it's stuck for me too. I was about to ask.
We're just going to be in the dark about what Geast does.
Well, Bargoff took the common swift rather than the white-throated.
Oh, there we go. Jeast is back. Yeah. I think that might.
Where are they getting the worms from?
Well, I mean the flycatcher.
Are they just betting on Jeast?
I think you bet on Jeast. Ooh, cowbird. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Jeast?
I guess that's okay. Because you know that your opponent's going to lay eggs, but I don't know. I think Bargoff's probably only going to lay eggs twice.
On whether or not the pink power works.
Yeah, I think you might get a couple of free eggs, but I mean, I guess if Jeast is going to lay eggs himself, that gets you an extra egg because you've just pushed the grasses out one space. So you'll need to lay eggs and try and max out this oologist. But yeah, I must say I wasn't expecting the cowbird. That was probably one of the few birds in his hand that I really didn't think he was going to play. So there you go, Jeast. He's just far too unpredictable for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would not have called that or done it personally, but
no. Well, we'll see if it pays off. I think he can expect a couple of free worms or a couple of free eggs from the pink power. So it might work out okay. But yeah, I think really.
Are the pink powers fixed?
Are they sort of? They're yeah. They sometimes work and they sometimes don't.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see. This is like
we got tabs on this and see if it works.
testing live for the.
Yep.
Well, I was going to say the world, but I don't think everyone's watching. So yeah, we'll see. We'll
7
find out.
billion people have joined your stream.
Oh my God, can you imagine? But yeah, well, we'll find out. We'll see if it does work. But here we go, flycatcher. Go on, Jeast. You know you want to. I don't think it matters really which of these he plays, right? They're both 9 points.
I can't see G's screen still.
Oh, okay.
You're up.
He should be back up. I can see Jeast at least, so you might have to refresh him.
Well, he should be, but
yeah, I think now that this.
Oh, I had it and then I lost it. And is it Woodcock versus Trumpeter Swan?
It's Woodcock versus Trumpeter Swan, and I think Jeast. I think he's been smart here, right? He doesn't want to give away too many worms because he knows every worm is worth a point for Bargoff. So I think originally he was looking at that Woodcock, but obviously that needs 2 worms. So I think if he goes for the Trumpeter Swan, you can avoid. Or
I think the Swan is the smarter play.
Yeah, I think he'll have to give away 1 worm with the flycatcher on this next turn to give him enough food to get it down. But yeah, that's potentially a point. So I don't necessarily mind that from Jeast, but yeah, it's certainly at this point. Obviously, there's only a couple of turns left. It feels like it's a pretty straightforward end game for both. You know, this big point eagle is going to go down, and then you lay eggs for Bargoff. You get the eggs, you get the tuck cards, and then hopefully save some worms and get some points with the swift. So pretty straightforward. And then again for Jeast, you know, lay eggs and play the swan. Feels like what the play is going to be. So it's time to ask the audience, as always. We've got a poll up, so make sure you vote who you think is going to win. At the moment, Bargoff is leading with 71% of the vote. So I think on
you were going to say 71 points.
71 points though. I think on the surface, I probably agree. Oh, Jeast, what are you doing? Oh, why did you not lay on the flycatcher? This is a big gamble because he needs this free egg from the cowbird to complete the oologist. And if the cowbird fails, he's not going to get that free egg, and he's going to miss out on oologist. There's no reason for him to do that. He could have easily just stuck an egg on there and made sure that he got it there. So that was a risk I think that Jeast didn't need to take. So we'll see if it matters. Obviously, right now, if this cowbird does activate, there we go. Okay, Jeast, you got away with one there because that was a bit silly, but yeah, he can get the swan down. So that's,
it did activate.
It did activate. You got the free egg,
okay.
And he's got the swan down. So that's big points on the final turn, which I think you always like to see.
Yes.
And yeah, the Bargoff again, a pretty nice couple of turns at the end here, laying eggs, scoring big points. Got a couple of worms for the Swift, so lots and lots of points. It feels like the end game has been more point scoring for Bargoff, and I think end of round goals is going to be pretty close. I think they might have tied one, and then I think Jeast won two and lost the other, so they're pretty close there. They're pretty much neck and neck in terms of eggs. See, Bargoff's got a few more tucks from the Blackbird and the Eagle as well. So, but Jeast has got better bonus cards, so this is going to be very close, I think. I have a history of saying that games will be close and then they're not, and then I'll say that someone's going to win by 20 points, and then it ends up being a 1 point difference. So, curse of the commentator is very much in play. But here we go into the final scores. So, this is going to be tense as it counts up.
Ooh,
that is a sizable lead.
52.
That is a sizable lead in bird points for Jeast, and I don't know if Bargoff can. I don't know if Bargoff can bring this back. I don't think they've got enough tuck cards, and they don't. So Jeast with the massive bird points, that's what won it.
Dang.
And it's a 12-point victory. So congratulations. Yeah, very, very well played. I mean, considering the start where it was basically Savvy Warbler and the Night Heron and just kind of digging through the deck and seeing what you could find. That worked out pretty nicely in the end and scored a lot of points. So yeah, very nice.
All right.
All right, I will bring back the two players just for a very quick debrief. So we will start with Jeast, the winner of this game. Congratulations, first of all, on the win. Yeah, how do you think that game went for you?
Had a tough start. My initial birds weren't that great, but I saw an opportunity to snatch the first EOR together with Bargoff.
Yep.
And it were quite some heavy birds, like 4-point birds, so that was also great. And then, I got a lot of high-point birds, which I was able to play, so that was nice.
Yeah, I think that worked out nicely for you. It certainly caught us off guard, like when the points started counting up and your bird points just went up and up and up, and massive points, and really, really well played there. And Bargoff, I think that was a good game from you. I thought it was going to be closer than it was in the end, and certainly that end game, I think finishing the bonus card, obviously that Eagle was a very nice play as well, but. What's your take on the game from your perspective?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with how I did as well. All of Jeast's big point birds really scared me.
Yeah.
I was terrified that they had Rodentologist with how aggressively they played the Goshawk and the Buzzard.
Yeah.
But turns out that wasn't the case, but still two nice bonus cards.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I mean Ulogist, the pickup from the Red Knot was certainly very nice and very welcome. But like I said, I think well played from you both, really. Two very high scores and some very different kind of approaches. We had a nice Grasslands engine scoring lots of points, and then Jeast with all those big point birds as well to score big points. But yeah, good game, and I think we'll probably wrap things up there. So thanks for playing, both of you. And
good game, Bargoff.
Absolutely,
good
game.
Thanks.
And thanks Elsie for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed that game.
Yep, it was fun.
Absolutely agree. All right, good stuff. And thanks as always to everyone who's tuned in. Hopefully you enjoyed that game as much as we did. And we do have another game in a couple of hours later today, so you can go and take a break and do some things with your day, but I want to see you come right back and enjoy the game later on. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.